Hello everyone in Ram Dass land. Welcome to the Random Rab Ram Dance. We have some special guest painting in the room tonight. John Speaker, Emily Kell, Randall Roberts, and Morgan Mandala. And we are up here adjacent to the beautiful Rocky Mountain National Park, about to journey into the unknown. Thank you for being here.
People have asked me about psychedelics here. I said I would mention my feelings about it. I would say I have great reverence and respect for them as a sacrament, as a vehicle for stepping outside of oneself, out of one's known self or false self, and tasting once again the non-conceptual nature of our being. As Maharaji said to me when I asked when he was talking about LSD, he said, it allows you to come in and have the darshan of Christ, but you can only stay for 2 hours, then you have to leave. He said it would be better to be Christ than to visit him, but your medicine won't do that. So I heard that. I heard the way in which it showed me more than I can say, and I understood more than I saw. And it's something that was so valid in my being that over these years, I'm always, in a way, assessing everything in relation to that wisdom. It imprinted me so deeply. But I didn't become fully free at that moment. was, and once again I forgot. Or I am, and I keep forgetting. But it starts a process. And you and I, whether you've had a psychedelic trip or not, doesn't matter. Because now, enough people did, so that the possibilities that it shows are now available in the zeitgeist of culture. In other words, relative reality is not weird. It's not new. It's just what is. And that, in a way, has opened the door for the work of consciousness. I meet young people now who've never had any of the psychedelics, and their consciousness is right with my consciousness. It just isn't fair.
Here we are.
isomorphic. But our technology doesn't allow us to measure it from the point of view of consciousness, so we'll work on the brain. But we know when your brain is dead, you aren't. Okay? Somebody that has seen relative reality says, like they do in India, when you die in India, they call it dropping the body. Isn't that an interesting image? Well, I'm going to drop my body today. Who's the I that's going to drop what? In the West, that's a very peculiar expression, because when your body isn't yours. Did I give up drugs because I saw I didn't need them anymore, or because I said I should give them up? There is an assumption in your question. That's all Mr. Clinton will say at this moment. I'll just force you up to the edge of it and you'll feel some fear, but you'll push against it. When you use more powerful psychotropic agents, like LSD, you will be forced into those. The mystical place you're looking for is behind those things, going through the unconscious into the superconscious, or into the, whatever you want to call that place behind you. The preparations to avoid that are having a guide with whom you are sharing the truth so clearly that when that stuff comes up, you can share that, you can open with that person and go with that. If the chemical is powerful enough, it actually takes you right through that so fast you don't have a chance to get neurotic. When it's really powerful, it just goes so fast. If it's less powerful, you can go into the psychologically repressed stuff and get really depressed, frightened. You will get depressed. You will have a bad trip. You'll probably have about 10 hours of hell. The way to avoid that is through preparation, through a guide, through trusting your own intuitive heart as to whether or not you should be doing this or not. When somebody says, I never say to somebody, you should take this chemical. And it is not necessary at all for people. It is not necessary at all for mystical experience. It's not necessary for transformation. Neither is a guru. Neither is meditation. These are all practices. They're all methods and they're all traps. Everyone is a trap. All right? it all depends on where you stand. That is real under certain conditions and other conditions. The reason I bring all that up is because over the years since that early 60s experience, the culture has changed. The worldview has changed. Relative reality is a much more acceptable place of consciousness than it was before.
The intellect doesn't quite have the domain, the overriding power that it once had.
The result is that chemicals are more of an anachronism now. They are less necessary to alterations of consciousness than they once were.
consciousness, whilst all about it, parted from it by the filmiest of screens, there lie other types of consciousness. We may spend our entire life without knowing of their existence, but apply the requisite stimulus and there they are in their completeness. Whatever that they suggest, we not close our accounts with reality prematurely. But we really have. We have treated physical, psychological, thinking reality as real.
metaphysical system you are living in a culture like this.
Give me that hope. 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 Give me
My
that
addiction to my rational mind took the dynamite of psychedelics to blow that out. But now it's just not as necessary that way. People don't get locked that camera. There's an easier escape from now, it seems. Because the American dream has collapsed. Very useful. Opens the door for all kinds of possibilities.
The wild geese do not intend to cast their reflection. The water has no mind
To receive their image.
If I could sing or play an instrument for you, I would sing and play an instrument for you. If I could dance for you, I would dance for you. If I could paint for you, I would paint for you. But my thing is words. Words.
there's no way out. I don't want to prolong it. I want to die. Please, I'd like you to let me die now. And I lay down to die. And I saw my thoughts getting slower and slower and slower. Death is not an enemy. It's merely another point in the transition.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am honored to be here sitting alongside Random Rab. Thank you so much for that beautiful, incredible, moving, multimedia on every level production. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
My honor, my pleasure. Yeah, nice to be here with you.
So I wanted to kind of start this off by just getting into it and what was it like for you working with Ram Dass's content in this capacity and creating this space with everyone?
It was really cool. I had him running through a separate feed where I had this thing I call the cube, which has EQs and effects and all sorts of fun stuff, and I can basically just feed his words into it and play around with it and have it be totally normal or stretch it out and have it be total chaos or just beds of sound. And the night before, I spent the whole night just listening to his words and trying to navigate my way, because I had so many hours of different talks, but I was sort of familiarizing myself and getting an overview. And it was really just an awesome experience just to have that, to kind of drop in and drop out and explore it and have fun with it.
Yeah.
So it really created a vibe. I remember when his words, during that set, when they first came on in the room, everybody was just like, yeah, okay, now we're doing it.
Oh, beautiful. And
Yeah.
was your set mostly like improvised? Because I noticed there were a couple songs in there that I did notice from like prior albums you've put out before.
Well, I was kind of doing a mix of, I was definitely improvising all of the Ram Dass words initially and sort of improvising the transitions and how things would flow, but some new material. And yeah, I threw in a couple, my older favorites, just to kind of round it out. There was definitely some technical difficulties happening during the set, so it turned into kind of a crazy moment of lots of letting go and rebuilding, and it was one of those, but we still had a blast making it.
That's funny. It kind of goes along with what Ram Dass was talking about during the set too. You have all the best intentions and like you got to get beyond that too. Like drop everything, even that.
Just be present with what is. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Beautiful. So, I've got a question from one of our audience members that looks like a really cool topic that I'm interested in getting your perspective on. It's from James on YouTube. He said, "Play is such a potent way to ingest wisdom, and you dreamed big here. How do you see this merging of wisdom teachings and festival culture evolving into the future?"
That's a big question. I mean, I think that, yeah. I mean, I think it's really just like kind of an important thing that if you're a part of the festival culture to remember and to constantly bring to the table whenever you do events or a piece of a larger event, is to think about what your intentions are. I mean, is it really just a party, or is there something more behind what you're doing? And I think that using the word play is really important, because play, like for puppies or for children, it's a required for development. If you don't play, then you'll never learn how to do anything with your body or live in this reality. So, but we have to keep remembering to play. I think that's to kind of stretch the boundaries of what we do, but have fun with it, and then that'll help us develop and grow as people and as a community.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Personally, like on my spiritual path, like early on, I had such a difficult time meditating. I couldn't sit down. I couldn't do it for some reason. I had all this resistance. So I had been attending a couple music festivals, and I got into hula hooping just through watching other people do it and have so much fun. And I found that like through that play, with that like movement play, I was able to get into that like space of meditation through the movement, like getting my body involved, because I noticed when you're at the live music experience, like you're almost like one unit, the whole crowd like moving together, and it feels like a meditation. Like it feels like you're just plugged into that soul land. It's the best way I could put it. So I feel like you really captured that tonight. This was like a true multimedia experience. We had artists, music, dancing. We had a puppy in there. We even had, Be Here Now. And for those of you who don't know, this year is actually the 50th anniversary of that book's publishing. So I thought it was really special that you did include those pages in there. I did
not know that until now, the 50th anniversary part. Yeah, that's great.
Perfect synchronicity then, huh?
Yeah.
So what is your relationship with that book? Like, can you tell me about like the first time you saw a copy, or like your first time like diving into it?
To tell you the complete truth, it's something that I'd heard of, but I'd never really laid my eyes on it until very recently, when I took on doing the show, and I'm embarrassed to admit it, but it's the truth. I feel like I was more familiar with some of the other words and teachings and speeches and whatnot, but for some reason the book always escaped me. And when I saw it, it really blew my mind. It was just such an incredible piece of art, so well written and super. I don't know. There's something about it. It's fun, and it has a certain lightness to it. But then through that, kind of almost a sense of humor. There's such deep messages that come through, and it was such a great reference point to kind of went during the video that everyone just watched, to kind of always go back to it as a frame of reference and as a point to kind of center the vibe. And even during the show, we had it floating around the room, and I was just getting to know it on a deeper level. So it's a powerful piece of media, and I hope everyone gets a chance to read it.
Yeah, honestly, me too. It's a multimedia experience, and I'm happy you mentioned like fun and humor too, because that was a huge part of Ram Dass's life, was like bringing lightness and humor and joy to all these concepts that, you know, I don't want to speak for the world, but I often take them very seriously, you know, and it's good to remember that, like, that play, that humor. And I feel like we can really capture that, like, through music and through these unitive experiences. So I want to ask a little bit about like the actual music style that you presented for us, like dance music. So like typically dance music, when you think about it, it's like a very outward experience. Like you said, like, oh, it's just a big party, you know, but like your music is like so inward. Like I'm thinking about like this lens, like how music can be used as a tool to like come inwards, even though we're on the dance floor. Do you feel kind of similarly?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I often think of music as a tool, especially after I've created a piece of music. It has a certain emotion. It evokes an emotion, and or maybe even a certain part of the song will evoke an emotion, and you know, I often play songs that I want to hear because I want to feel a certain emotion. But then when it's presented in a live experience, you're kind of like scanning the crowd to see sort of the overview vibe, I guess, and think about what emotion that those people want to feel. And can I provide a tool to help us all get to that place? And sometimes people just want to like get down and dirty. Other times they want to release and cry, or, you know, mellow out or get excited. So each song kind of has this little place in what it does, hopefully that in our emotional state. And usually hopefully it feels good is the ultimate goal.
Yeah. Now, speaking of live music, I talked with Anthony a little bit about this, but now that the world is starting to reopen a little bit, we're starting to hopefully enter that post-COVID world. Do you have anything going on, any like tours, any shows? Are you excited to get back out there with humans again?
Yes, definitely excited to get out there with humans. Looking forward to just kind of loosening up on some of these restrictions that are about how we do shows. But I'm just grateful to be doing any shows at this point. But I'm doing a run of shows in early May in Denver, Fort Collins, and Boulder, Colorado. So I'm doing like basically two nights in each city, and going to bring out all sorts of new music and fun. And it's going to be like the socially distanced thing, but I think it's kind of getting closer. We're getting there, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Oh,
beautiful. Well, if anybody is in those areas, definitely, if you just saw what we just presented tonight, you don't want to miss his shows if you're available to get in on those. So it does look like we are nearing the end of our time together. I just want to say thank you, Rab, for coming on here and for producing this incredible multi-dimensional experience for us all. For those of you that are wondering, this will be available for replay afterwards. So you can check it out, share it with your friends afterwards. And I want to turn to the audience and say thank you guys for coming here, for tuning in, and for helping us kick off. Yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this. I know that we're separated at the moment, but we can still come together in this amazing way. I also want to say thank you to all the folks working behind the scenes to help present this offering. It definitely takes many hands, many minds, and a lot of coordination to bring this whole thing together. So thank you to everyone working on the back. And I hope that you'll all join us again in 2 weeks. On April 2nd, we're going to welcome Nina Rao and Kripa to the virtual stage to share some kirtan and stories of their time spent traveling and living with Ram Dass. And I also want to invite you guys to join us all this Monday for a Ram Dass Fellowship live stream with David Nichtern. David Nichtern is a longtime friend of Ram Dass, a senior Buddhist teacher, author, meditation guide, and Emmy award-winning composer and musician. He'll be diving into the concepts of love and emptiness from the Buddhist lens, and the event will incorporate guided meditations, audience Q&A. You can learn more about this event and the many other free offerings that we present on our events calendar at ramdass.org/events. So Thank you again to Earthcry and to Random Rab, to all of the artists that you had collaborating with you. And thank you to everyone watching. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.